Hey there, how's it going? What is up, everybody? Irish Orangutan is back to pass along what you need to know to get better at Madden and grow your MUT team. Enjoy the show. So, today I'm going to be talking about the state of gameplay and some of the things I have noticed from previous years. I have went back and played some of those games and have came back and played this game. Just want to kind of talk about some of the things that have changed over time and how things have not changed potentially in some situations as well. Was kind of thinking about what I could potentially do um, to talk through this and kind of have a backdrop for this, and I just thought I'd load up into a game since we will be talking about gameplay mostly. I will try to change up the plays from time to time, but I'm going to try to run some things that work as well. So, just want to get kicked off and say I am very excited about how gameplay has developed. I know there are things that need to be worked on, and a lot of people kind of get frustrated when you say gameplay is good, but just considering what has came in previous years, obviously it should be better. It should be just miles better from previous years and other iterations of Madden. And to be honest, I really do think that it is. And even looking back at 2018 and going back years previous, right here, as you look at some of those sideline players, that's not realistic. That's something that can be changed, but that's not something that changes the way the competitive game is going to be played. As Carlos Hyde, for some reason, is absolutely cutting me up the middle. Um, but just the way that people look and the way that they move this year is just streets ahead and just tremendous compared to last year. It was really frustrating kind of going to last year. It's almost, it's not to the point where Tecmo is something in consideration, but just the way that people move in this year's game compared to last year's, the way they interact with each other is so much better. Obviously, the way that they move when they're not contacting players can be something that is really, really difficult. The way people go into zones and aren't doing the thing that's the smartest thing, but it's just kind of what fits into their zone. That is something that obviously needs to be fixed, but it is something that's difficult to be fixed because you want them to be able to do exactly what you tell them to do, but you also want them to do the right things in certain situations. So there has to be a little bit of a give and take with that, and I just really don't think that has quite came at this point. I know a lot of people really don't like the real player motion, and the one cut can be difficult when they're able to catch up or sprint ahead of people based on that cut. That's not something that's necessarily realistic. There are certain people that are quicker, but there aren't people that are just absolutely able to break away from people, and it's not every person on the field that's able to do that. And at this point, it kind of is. If that attribute is just given to someone like Barry Sanders next year, that is perfect. If he is given that and super spin that everyone has this year, that's a perfect fit. But everyone having that, it's not necessarily. So real player motion was something that has brought the game some more realism, but they do have some work to do with that as well, especially on that one cut. Just replicating real football is the one thing. I apologize. I'm going to be looking at a couple things and talking through them. But yes, just replicating real football is the one thing that real player motion has been making strides to be able to do. Real player motion isn't getting you into that perfect place, and obviously we've seen everyone with the crooked heads and um, just people not moving the way that they should. Um, on that interception cam, that's one specific way that you can look at that and understand that's not perfect. But it is much, much better than it has been, and even though in certain situations it's not perfect, hopefully since they're working on those bugs earlier in the year, they're able to find those soccer kicking type situations where you're just kicking the ball down the field and kind of eliminate those a little bit earlier and make people actually able to pick up fumbles. Kind of touched on this a little bit earlier when I was talking about catching up with people. This is something that GutFox has said and has illustrated
in a very good way. Just the ability for people to be able to, excuse me, sorry, I was doing that with one hand and moving something with the other. Couldn't quite get taken off down the field. That running a lot is a little bit of a monster as well. Those pads make me a little bit scared. Um, but just the ability, if players are behind and you turn them around and hit that sprint, you're able to actually catch up with them when the momentum is not correct, and that's not real. So if they work on making the one cut a little bit more blended with the real player motion, I feel that that would be a huge, huge bump. I did have down 5% on that one cut. Let me know in the comments below if you think even a little bit less than that would probably be helpful. Touched on the interception cam. That is something that has been a little bit frustrating at this point. I do not try to turn around and run because otherwise I just fall down with that particular player. I just go and just kind of let them turn around on their own and then go about trying to get the ball all the way, return for a touchdown after that. I am I know it's not the best thing to say, but I'm excited they're building around the current game and just working to improve it. If they did want to really make the game better, I feel as if they would have to take a couple years off to completely rebuild it. And the way they cut back on people, they are really not allowing for growth with the people that they do have at this time. They are just allowing them to trudge forward. So thankfully, um, I know a lot of people say the game's in a bad place, and in some ways it is, but it is continuing to get better in a lot of different ways. I did touch on this earlier. They are fixing some of these problems earlier on in the game, so hopefully they do continue to do that, and they're able to work with some people who play way too much. We're really willing to be able to help them and give inspiration on little things that can be better. So hopefully they are working with the people who play the game too much along with the people who do develop it to make the best game possible. I really think they have done things like that in the past, but just cutting back on the people that work with them, game changers, I feel as if it is a little bit disappointing as well, but that is another way to cut costs. So sadly, it is a business that our favorite game is behind, but it is something that we are having to deal with and have dealt with in the past. Thankfully, there are a lot of people who are in charge of this game that really do love Madden football, so hopefully they will continue to build this game up to what it really can be. Something the people who really do care about this game have done is building in unique playing styles for players. So players who are significantly slower might actually have the ability to fit into your team and actually be some of the better players on your team. I do a little bit of a walkthrough with the best quarterbacks in the game, and if they aren't up to a certain speed, they're just not going to be recognized because they don't fit in Madden Ultimate Team as some of the best players at this point. They just really can't come out and do the great things like scramble around and throw off their back foot and get it weighing down the field because they just aren't those athletes. So I'm happy that they're taking those strides. Every computer game that you do play is going to be a little bit more unique. You have people that are just goons at getting after you. You might have to run the ball a little bit more that game than what you really want to do. But it's changing up the game. It's changing up the schemes. If teams come out and run different defenses, aren't just running cover 2s, cover 3s, they stick in a cover 4 because they know you're trying to run the same thing over and over again. I'm excited about those things, so hopefully they continue to build, and the people that truly love this game that are working at EA can continue to make this a very good football game. I know there are bad points that do happen in the game, but we need to continue to stay positive and do our best to give them positive feedback, because if they just hear trash all the time, they will get rid of everyone that is there, and a lot of those people are trying to do everything to make this game better. That is what I have to say today. Let me know what you think can be improved upon, and if you think that I'm crazy that this is a good game. Do like hearing everyone's feedback about the team and about what you feel about Madden at this point as well. So let me know what you feel, and have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Thank you for checking into the Irish Orangutan channel. Keep coming back for more Madden knowledge. There will be consistent videos up every week, so make sure to subscribe and hit the bell button to see them all. Come by Twitch to engage and hit me up on Twitter at Irish Orangutan. Take care and much love, everybody.